I am chill. I'm chill. I'm chill. I bought a place on my own in Amsterdam and I only did it in half a year. But it has been one of the hardest things that I have ever done. So, because I learned so much along the way, I want to share my tips on how I navigated the process and some practical advice on how you buy a place here. Before we start, I have a few disclaimers on what I will talk about. So first thing, I will assume you know a little bit about the process. So you know that there is mortgage advisors, that there's funda, there's overbidding. You know these words, but you still have a lot of questions. Secondly, I will not go into a lot of details on the financial aspects because I think that a financial advisor or a mortgage advisor can give you way better information and better fitted on your personal case than I can. Thirdly, I will assume that you can buy a place in the sense that you can afford to buy one, but you're not sure whether you should go for it or not. Basically, I'm giving advice to myself from last year or to a friend that is thinking about buying. Now, I would split the actions that you can take in two big phases. Before you make the decision of buying a place and after you make the decision of buying a place. And let's start with the first one. In my opinion, people struggle a lot with deciding whether to even start looking for a place. But I realized that there were a lot of things that I could have done before I took the serious decision that I'm gonna go look for a place. And I could have spent my time better instead of just thinking, is this a good idea or not? So here's what I would do to help me make the decision of whether I want or not to buy. 1. I would start talking to people who already bought a place. So that could be colleagues, that could be friends, or online threads where people post and give advice. I would not speak to people who already made a decision not to buy or people that are unsure themselves, because that will only discourage you or scare you. And since you're watching this video, then I assume you want to hear how are ways through which you can buy a place, not the other way around. You want to talk to people and ask them targeted questions, such as, did you have a mortgage advisor? Do you recommend them? What did you like about them or not like about them? What about the real estate agent? Would you recommend them? Can you share the contact? How many times did you bid? What kind of questions were you asking when you were going for viewings? What was important for you when you were looking for a place? Did you have any issues since you moved in? You want to collect as much data as possible so that you familiarize yourself with things that could be important for you later. Because in the beginning, you know you want a place and maybe you know some things that you know you want, but there's a lot of things that you don't know that you may want. And that's what you're trying to discover by asking these people these questions. And mostly stay away from discussing how stressful the whole process was or how long or how many places they visited before they bought a place. That's ways in which you get discouraged. At least that's what I felt was unproductive with my conversations. So at this point, you're collecting data, you're collecting contacts, and later on they will come in handy. Another action I encourage you to take is to start exploring different neighborhoods. If you already know where you would like to buy a place, great. But if you're unsure about some neighborhoods, then go ahead and plan a lunch one weekend there and see for yourself what it's like to walk in the neighborhood, what's the vibe, what kind of people you see around, do you see enough nature, or whatever things you think at this point you may like around a place. Number 3 is to get in touch with the mortgage advisor. So by now you should have contact of a few financial advisors and you can send some messages to some of them. You see who is available, who is not, to schedule a meeting with you, and you can ask them your personal questions about your particular case, because everyone has their own personal situation, and it's better and more practical to talk this with the mortgage advisor than to discuss it with friends. Maybe friends give you some advice, but it's not the best one. So just talk to someone who knows what they're talking about. Number 4 is to go for a few viewings just for fun. You don't have to go and buy the place or bid for the place. There's also days when there's open houses. You can see that on Funda, and just go for fun, meet with the agent from there, discuss about the place, and familiarize yourself with what it's like to go for a viewing. It is also useful because it forces you to prepare a few questions for when you're gonna meet with the selling agent, and you get a bit of insights into what the dynamic is when you go for a viewing. And that again will prepare you for later when you will regularly go for viewings. Number 5 is to already schedule a meeting with a real estate agent. I myself postponed this until later, and for example, I didn't get along with my first agent, and then I had to spend time on finding a new agent when I would have liked to spend that time looking with my agent on a house. Since you already have some contacts from the first step, then you can schedule some first time meetings with a few of them and see who you click with. I also got a lot of valuable knowledge from my first interaction with the agent, because I told them a summary of what I'm interested in, and then they would give me advice on what other people that were around my age and with my budget, what they went for, and some of the things that some of the areas that I'm interested in, maybe they're not that safe, or I don't know, a lot of useful information that I basically got for free. And they also help you with managing your expectations, which for me, it helped me mentally to prepare for a few months of search that could take even longer, but it definitely helped to have someone by my side from the beginning. Next, I want to emphasize that buying a place is as much as a psychological commitment as it is a financial commitment. And while I knew this, I didn't realize how much this is true and how much this affects the process. Because how you actually feel about committing to buying a place will reflect in the time that it takes for you to find a place. So if you are unsure whether this is the right decision, it will take you longer to find a place. And while it's true that the prices are crazy and overbidding is crazy, there's so much demand, people that know what they want, they find a place faster. And people that are unsure are gonna be overtaken by people who know what you're looking for. And of course, it is a really big decision, and you should take as much time as you need to weigh it for yourself, whether it makes sense. But to be halfway in and halfway out, I think it will lead to a lot of frustrations, because it will cause delays and make you feel more and more discouraged with each day. Spend some time before to think if you're in or not with the search, that you want to purchase something and you want to seriously start looking. By now, you already have a financial advisor that you like, you have a real estate agent that you get along with and knows more or less what you're looking for. You have info, some data about what you are interested in, so you already did a lot of things. And side note, you can always change your real estate agent if you're unhappy later down the process. Same with the financial advisor, so nothing binds you to these people. One thing I did when I started looking more seriously for places is that I announced at work that I'm gonna start looking for a place. and therefore I will sometimes have to go to viewings. You know, or maybe you don't, that sometimes you have to go for a viewing on the same day or the day after, and it's very inconvenient hours. So you don't want to have the stress from work that what should I do? Should I go to the viewing? But I really like the place, but I have the meeting, so you don't want to have all of that stress. The next advice is to write down what you want from the place. So be very specific what things are important for you and try to give weights to each of them. So having a balcony is important, 7 out of 10. Or having a separate bedroom is important, 5 out of 10. Having a lot of light is important, 10 out of 10, and so on. You also want to work through this list as you see more and more places, because it will help you filter better which apartments are worth viewing, which apartments are not worth viewing. Every place you see, you wonder, is this my place? And if you have a list, it helps you to better make that decision. Based on this list that you made, I would rediscuss with a real estate agent my wishes and keep them updated on what I find important or what is suddenly more important than it used to be. And usually they also have their own internal page where they send you listings, and they can modify filters in there according to the searches, so that the search is more custom to your liking. Another thing I encourage you to do is to not go to too many viewings. So don't scatter yourself too much, and if you already went to 2 viewings in a neighborhood and maybe the apartment was nice but you didn't really like the neighborhood, don't go to a third one. Like, you already decided you didn't like it, so don't force it. I feel like this is like a lot of this advice also works for dating. Number 5, prepare a motivation letter. So a motivation letter is something that you're gonna also send, that you may send if you really like a place when you bid, on why you like the apartment, a little bit about yourself. You can write something that's a bit more general and then customize it based on for different apartments. I have heard stories where this really made a difference. If you have the same, if you bid the same amount as other people, and the seller cannot choose, then yeah, if you have the motivation letter, it can help you. Sometimes when the stars align, you will want to bid on a place. How do you know that you want to bid on a place? You may feel it. You may really like the place. The agent may tell you that this is a really good place, in my opinion. I will do further checks, but it looks like a really good deal. You can also follow your list. But if you don't really feel it, if you think this place is almost it, but it's not really it, I would not bother to bid on it. In my experience, bidding is very stressful and emotionally draining process, waiting to see whether you're selected or not. And I would rather put that energy towards places that I am sure about, and then I can also focus more on what's the maximum money I want to put in this place, that if I win it, I'm not sad that I overbid. I know that there's people that just bid everywhere. They overbid crazy amounts and then they win the bid and then they back down from their offer because they don't want to pay all of that money. So it's useless to win the bid in the end if you are not willing to pay the money. And sadly, if you lose the bid, then take some time to be sad. It is sad, especially if you were emotionally invested in the apartment and then you were already seeing yourself living there. But yeah, if you think about it, if that was your place, then you would have won. So because you didn't, it is not your place. So your place will be better. And even if it's hard to believe it now, it's true. And you are also statistically closer to finding your place because you already lost a bid, which is normal and it's happening to most of us. So next bid, your chances are higher. You're gonna learn a bit from the previous experience and you're gonna do an even better bid. If you win the bid, then congrats, you're almost there. Still a few steps to go, but you're on the right track. Now it's both a happy and a stressful period. I will not go into all the details of all the things that are gonna happen because they will be explained to you by both your agent and your financial advisor. But in short, from the moment you win the bid till the moment that you go to the notary to sign, you have to arrange a couple of documents. You may want to do a technical inspection, the appraisal, so you want someone to come and evaluate the house to see whether it's worth the money that you offered for it. Yeah, this is all stressful, especially if you don't have a financial clause. It's stressful because you want to have everything ready in time and you have a lot of dependencies on all of the people. And I don't know what to say than to accept that it is a stressful period, brace yourself with patience, and also trust the people that you're working with, that they know to do their job, and it's also in their interest that you get those documents in time. So it's all a teamwork for this. And as much as I try to stay on top of the game and know all the things that are gonna happen and they're gonna be asked from me so I can prepare the documents, there were still a lot of things that I didn't know and I just heard on the fly, and a bit of bumps on the roads that led to delays. So it's just what can happen. Oh, by the way, maybe I should explain what a financial clause is. So when you sign the purchase agreement at the notary after you won the bid, you may have this clause in the contract which protects the buyer in case they can't actually afford a mortgage. If you have a financial clause and later you find out that the bank cannot borrow you that money, then you don't have to pay any penalty for not being able to buy the place, even if you said you would be capable to buy the place. So that protects you as a buyer. But then that's can be annoying for the seller because they thought they sold you the place and now they need to start again the selling process. Sometimes you want to risk it and drop this financial clause, and this means that you're not protected in the case that you get a negative answer from the bank. And if you do get a negative answer from the bank, now you don't have this clause to protect you, and then you have to pay like 10% of the house as a penalty fee. There's ways in which you can make an educated guess whether it's smart or not to drop this financial clause that you do together with the mortgage advisor. Let's say you drop the financial clause. From the moment you sign, you have 72 hours to get a positive response from the bank. Within those 72 hours, if you don't get an answer from the bank or if you don't get a positive answer from the bank, you can still withdraw your application without paying the penalty. This means that you need to speed up the process with the bank and get everything done in those 72 hours. And that's what makes this process stressful because of the number of documents that need to be checked and ready within a very short time window. The next important moment that happens is the transfer day. It's the day when you're gonna meet again with the people you're buying from, with the selling agent, with your own agent, and you're gonna go for a final technical inspection of the place to see if the place still exists, is there, if it's in good condition. Hopefully everything is fine, after which you go to the notary again to sign the transfer and get the keys, and after that the house is yours. In this transfer document you also say that you transferred all the money to all the involved parties, which you hopefully did in the days before the transfer day. So you already paid the mortgage advisor, the agent, the translator in case you needed one for the notary, and some of this money you can request back later. Your advisor will probably tell you about this, that and the notary as well, that you can request some of this money back when you fill in your taxes for the next year, or you can also fill in a document from the lasting days right after you bought the place. and declare those expenses there. And there you go, we have walked through the whole process. I know I didn't go into all the details, but there's too many details. I wanted to share what helped me navigate the process rather than the process itself, because I see a lot of the same information repeated everywhere, but there's things around it that don't get talked about, and that's what I wanted to share. So I hope this was useful. Leave a comment if you have any questions, or leave a like if you liked the video, and share it with someone that may need help with this. Thanks again for watching. Bye bye.